Burhan Wani is gone, but Syed Salahuddin wants his mission to go on. India Today now gets you this exclusive story on the man who's been appointed Burhan Wani's successor as the chief of the Hizbul in South Kashmir.
Terror has a new face in the valley. Terror has a new name. Better known as Sabdon, Sabzar Ahmad is the new poster boy of terror in Jammu and Kashmir. Even as the valley protested Hizbul Mujahideen terrorist Burhan Wani's killing, Sabzar had quietly made his entry. He was at Burhan Wani's funeral, his alert eye watching every move. India Today is the first channel to access these pictures. Dressed in a green t-shirt, face covered for cameras, Sabzar virtually took charge at the funeral. Sabzar, like Burhan Wani, is a local from Tral in South Kashmir and was a trusted lieutenant of Burhan. He was aware of most of Burhan Wani's contacts and links across the line of control in Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. A failed love affair brought Sabzar into the terror fold. He was searching for new meaning to his life after the girl he was in love with spurned his marriage proposal. Sabzar joined the Hizbul Mujahideen in 2015 after Burhan Wani's elder brother Khalid was killed in an encounter with the security forces. The aim to appoint Sabzar as the interim commander is to ensure that this group of young terrorists does not disintegrate. Of the famous Facebook group photo of 11 Hizbul Mujahideen terrorists, only Sabzar Ahmad, Wasim Shah and Saddam are still alive. Now, instead of one commander, according to intelligence agencies, the terror group has given charge to 4 different commanders in different areas and for different operations. The aim is to ensure that the chain of command and morale doesn't come crashing down if a single terrorist like Burhan Wani is killed by the security forces.
Being expert in the technology and computer, Sabzar Ahmad will play the same game as Burhan was weaving in the Kashmir to attract more and more new youths into the militancy. With cameraman Roof Ahmed and Tariq Loon, Ashraf Wani for India Today in Srinagar.
We've got breaking news coming in on the newsroom tonight, because over the last few days there's been a lot of commentary on how civilians are being targeted, stone pelters being felled by armed forces bullets. But now there are reports coming in that 3 police personnel at the very least are still missing. Apparently 40 assault rifles and pistols are also missing from a police station in Kulgam and personnel who are stationed there. I want to go across now to my colleague Suja-ul Haq, who's joining us from Srinagar. 21 Insas rifles, 12 SLR rifles, 2 AK-47 rifles, 1 light machine gun and 3 carbine machine guns are missing. Also joining us on the show this evening is my colleague Gaurav Sawant, who's tracking how the Prime Minister and his team are planning to deal with this situation. Suja, to you first. Very, very disturbing news coming in from Kulgam in Kashmir, because the focus so far has been on how the stone pelters have been brought down by the armed forces. But what people really need to realize is that it's the armed forces, especially the local police, that's being targeted again and again by these murderous mobs that are coming and attacking them.
Well, Rahul, you know, this incident actually had taken place on the very first day of the crisis, and it had happened in Damhal, Hanjipora, where the mob had actually set on fire the police station there and looted these weapons. 3 policemen were missing, but today we got a little update in this that 2 of them have been tracked down. 1 is still missing. The entire weaponry is also untraced so far. The officials are saying that they've not been able to work much towards it because the entire area is in the grip of a very, very difficult crisis, and mobile networks and communication networks are completely down. So in these difficult times, they perhaps are waiting for the situation to calm down a little before they could probe into this matter. But a very disturbing trend of how weapons were looted and then taken away, policemen were taken away and kept in perhaps kept in some isolated location. Thankfully, two of them have been traced now. One still remains untraced. But the larger point really, Rahul, here is the kind of unrest and the crisis that we are witnessing here, where the situation is so bad that we don't really know how the people will react, how they would, in a sense, react to a situation, because of late we've seen so many government buildings being attacked, so many of them set on fire. Today itself, at least 22 incidents of clashes and protests have happened throughout the day. One boy has unfortunately lost his life just in the late afternoon in Kupwara once again. So clearly, tough times continue while both sides reacting very differently.
Gaurav, the Prime Minister held a high-level meeting this morning. A message has been sent out that the Mehbooba government has the freedom to act in the way that it wants. But what realistically is the central government going to do to try and help bring the situation in Kashmir under control? What's the inside story, Gaurav?
Rahul, it's a twin-pronged strategy. On the face of it, it's the Mehbooba Mufti government that's reaching out to everyone to calm nerves at this point of time. That is of utmost importance, especially tomorrow. It's 13th of July, it's the Martyrs' Day. Once again, we could fear, there is apprehension that the situation could go out of control. So that is sign one, and sign two is the Friday Eid Namaz and what happens after that. Should both these situations be contained, there are additional central armed police forces that have been deployed. They're already in Jammu and Kashmir. They will be deployed by the Jammu and Kashmir police, by the Mehbooba Mufti government as is required. So the aim is, whoever is deployed, whether it's the CRPF, whether it's the BSF, whether it's the Reserve Police, the J&K police is at the forefront. These police forces will assist them. The army is nowhere in the picture. The army is in its camps as far as urban built-up areas are concerned. The army is only in the rural areas, only ensuring that terrorists don't try and take advantage. Because, Rahul, there is an intelligence alert that very clearly says that Lashkar-e-Taiba and Jaish-e-Mohammed will try and exploit this situation. So behind the mobs, there'll be terrorists and they could try and create mayhem. So that is where the security grid is as tight as can be, but with utmost restraint. That's the word from Mehbooba Mufti, that no civilian casualties are acceptable, and that is something that is a big challenge for the police and the security forces. So intelligence agencies, the political leadership, the interlocutors, they're reaching out to everyone to ensure tempers come down.
Thanks, Gaurav. Thanks, Suja. In the midst of all of this, Mehbooba Mufti, the Chief Minister of Jammu and Kashmir, spoke out for the first time. It's been 5 days since these stone pelters have been creating mayhem, since the death toll started rising. Mehbooba Mufti asked for restraint, she asked for calm. Here are some of the key excerpts of what Mehbooba said to the people of Kashmir and the people who are watching everywhere else. Listen in to Mehbooba Mufti.
जब मुझे ये इत्ला मिली कि कुकरनाकी एरिया में एक एनकाउंटर हुआ है जिसमें 3 मिलिटेंट जो हैं जान बहक हुए हैं और उसमें बुरहान वानी भी है, तो उसी वक्त, क्योंकि अचानक खबर मिली मुझे, तो उसी वक्त से मेरी ये कोशिश रही, क्योंकि मैं समझती थी अब लोग बाहर आएंगे, जवान खासकर बाहर आएगा, कि हम किस तरह से हालात को संभालें ताकि इसमें खुदा ना खास्ता किसी जान का नुकसान ना हो। और यही वजह है कि उसी वक्त मैंने ऑर्डर्स दे दिए कि कर्फ्यू लगना चाहिए ताकि कम से कम लोग जो हैं सड़कों पे आएँ। जो लोग सड़कों पे आए, तो सीआरपीएफ हो, हमारी अपनी पुलिस हो या कोई और सिक्योरिटी फोर्सेस के एहलकार हो, उनको बाज़ाब्ता ये हिदायत थी कि लोग जज्बात में होंगे, जवान जज्बात में होगा, तो आपको सबसे ज़्यादा एहतियात बरतनी है, सब्र व तहम्मुल से काम लेना है। मगर मुझे इस बात का अफसोस है कि सरकार की तमाम कोशिशों के बावजूद ہماری تمام جو ہدایات ہے اس کے باوجود ایسے حالات بنے کہ ہم اپنے لوگوں کے جو سڑکوں پہ احتجاج کرنے کے لیے آئے تھے اور اپنے غم اور غصے کا اظہار کرنا چاہتے تھے، ہم کئی لوگوں کی جو ہے اس میں جانیں چلی گئی، ہم شاید جانیں ان کی بچا نہیں پائے. مجھے اس کا بہت افسوس ہے. ہم سمجھتے ہیں کہ جو سیکورٹی فورسز یا پولیس سے جہاں زیادتی ہوئی ہے، انہوں نے زیادہ طاقت کا استعمال کیا ہے، اس کی تو جواب تلفی ہوگی، اس کی جواب دہی ہوگی. بھیڑ کو آگ لگانے والا جو سامنے آیا تھا وہ تو آگ لگا کے بھاگ گیا، مگر اس کے بعد جب ایکشن ہوا تو ایکشن میں وہ لوگ نہیں مارے جاتے ہیں جو بھیڑ کو اکساتے ہیں، بلکہ وہ لوگ مارے جاتے ہیں جو بھیڑ کے بہکاوے میں ان جگہوں تک پہنچتے ہیں جہاں ان کو شاید نہیں پہنچنا چاہیے تھا. تو میری گزارش ہے یہاں کے ماں باپ سے، یہاں کے والدین سے، اللہ تعالیٰ نے زندگی دی، یہ بہت قیمتی ہے. اللہ تعالیٰ کے بعد اگر بچے کا، اولاد کا کوئی سب سے بڑا وسیلہ ہوتا ہے، اس کے ماں باپ ہوتے ہیں. حاصل اگر ہم دیکھتے ہیں آج تک تو ہمارے پاس اجڑے ہوئے گھروں کے بغیر قبرستانوں کے قبرستان بھر گئے ہمارے، اور کہیں نہ کہیں ہم اقتصادی حال میں بھی بہت ہی بری طرح سے پچھڑ گئے ہیں. حاصل کچھ نہیں ہوا. آج بھی آپ دیکھیے جن لوگوں کی جان گئی اس میں، مجھے معلوم ہے آج کئی دن تک ان کے گھر میں بہت بھیڑ بھاڑ رہے گی، بہت لوگ آئیں گے، کچھ دل سے افسوس کریں گے، کچھ دکھاوا بھی کریں گے، مگر اس کے بعد ان خاندانوں کا پرسان حال پوچھنے والا کوئی نہیں ہوتا ہے. اور بھیڑ کو آگ لگانے والا جو سامنے آیا تھا وہ تو آگ لگا کے بھاگ گیا، مگر اس کے بعد جب ایکشن ہوا تو ایکشن میں وہ لوگ نہیں مارے جاتے ہیں جو بھیڑ کو اکساتے ہیں، بلکہ وہ لوگ مارے جاتے ہیں جو بھیڑ کے بہکاوے میں ان جگہوں تک پہنچتے ہیں جہاں ان کو شاید نہیں پہنچنا چاہیے تھا.
The armed forces in Kashmir are faced with a very, very delicate situation. Several police posts have been attacked by riotous mobs. 30 people are dead. But can we shift towards using non-lethal force? Use rubber bullets as an example instead of using real bullets. Can this be a way of saving lives? Is the use of force, as some activists are suggesting, disproportionate, or do the men on the ground have absolutely no option because they are the ones who are being attacked? Joining us to debate this very complex issue on the Newsroom Showdown tonight, I want to begin by introducing General G.D. Bakshi. Squaring off against him tonight, Shabnam Lone, activist and lawyer. I want to go across to General Bakshi first because I've come back, sir, after having spent a week in the valley. And as I spoke to a lot of young Kashmiris, while they say that stone pelting is a problem, the one question they ask is, why are real bullets being used against us? Is it possible, sir, to shift towards the use of non-lethal force, to use rubber bullets instead, so that all these lives that are being lost can somehow be saved, that so many people don't die? General Bakshi.
You know, Rahul, what I would like to highlight is which civilized state can stand up to its police stations being torched, being burnt, with the policemen inside. Which civilized state will accept that the vehicles of its police are pushed into the Jhelum river and the boys drown? After all, those are also human beings with human rights. They have the right to private self-defense. And if it is a non-violent demonstration, we have no problems whatsoever. But if these are murderous assaults designed to incite, designed to provoke, and if you don't get provoked, designed to kill. It's not just stone pelting, it is attempts to burn down a police station. That is what no civilized state can accept. The rule of law has to be enforced. Your point is, can it be enforced with rubber bullets? Rahul, you would be aware that they are now firing pellets, and we are being accused that the pellets are hitting the eyes of some of the children. The fact is, Rahul, it is unfortunately a deliberate strategy by Pakistan. It tried to take Kashmir by military force 4 times, it failed. It then started the terrorist movements from 3,500 armed terrorists. Today they are down to
Okay, you've made multiple points. You've set the stage for this debate. 1 second, General Bakshi.
Now they want to start an intifada.
Okay, you've set the stage for this debate. I want to go across to Shabnam Lone because General Bakshi raises some very, very pertinent points. That it's not as if the armed forces are going out killing innocent civilians. These are riotous mobs that are attacking police stations, that are throwing police personnel into the jail. Now, the armed forces personnel can say, we are firing only in self-defense. We are firing not because we want to kill these civilians. We are firing because we are being attacked, and if we don't fire, we will die ourselves. Miss Lone.
Rahul, we are living in a violent world this time. 21st century is the century of negotiations. See what is happening in America, the world's greatest democracy. Recently we saw what happened in Dallas. See, there is a movement going on out there, Black Lives Matter. That American sergeant, he killed 5 policemen because of the way he thought that blacks were being discriminated against. Look at the anger. If this can happen in the world's largest democracy, and I have got great regard for General G.D. Bakshi Saab. But you know, it hurts me. It really hurts me when General Saab says, you know, now we are being accused of that children have pellets in their eyes. General Saab, a young girl, a class 5 girl, she has got pellets in her eyes. Should this become a subject of discussion or topic? No, sir, it should not. You should be the first one to say that no, this sort of lethal things should be avoided. And now here is the problem. If a child of 12 years, if a girl of 10 years is part of that a mob, you know, which sees that there has been injustice, that is the problem, sir. You cannot solve this problem by bullets.
Okay,
Bullets
General
is
G.D.
not the
Bakshi,
answer.
respond to
Bullets and
Shabnam Lone, because a
bombs
lot
are
of
to be
people
avoided.
will say, especially the voices in Kashmir, they're saying, okay, why are you firing on the chest? Why are you firing in the eyes? Can you instead fire on the legs so that you achieve your mission objective, which is to halt the mob, and yet you don't end up with such a high level of fatalities? How do you respond to that? Don't aim for the head, don't aim for the head, don't aim for the chest, don't aim for the eyes, go for the legs. How do you respond, General Bakshi?
Rahul, the use of pellets is to switch to non-lethal methods of mob dispersal. Now the fact is, when you fire a pellet, it propagates in all directions. So you cannot control the flow of individual pellets. The best of marksmen cannot control the flow of individual pellets. Now, the pellets were resorted to just to see that people don't die. Look, all-out efforts are being made to contain collateral damage. But when the level of violence goes to a degree where you attack police stations, CRPF camps, and you try and overrun them, you try and set them on fire, that is dangerous. You see, the fact of the matter is that there is a deliberate attempt to instigate a Palestinian intifada type of a situation. We saw that happening in 2008, in 2010, and now once again, very deliberate, very planned. Why do you kill a terrorist? So what do we start doing? Here is a man who shot dead 2 sarpanches, one of their sons, killed 2 local policemen. I mean, this man is a murderer. You glorify him, then you say, why have the security forces killed him? He is opening fire on the security forces.
Okay, Shabnam Lone,
what you are
respond to this.
You would like to see 30 policemen dead.
No, absolutely. Nobody wants to see any policeman dead. Make no mistake about that. Shabnam Lone, General Bakshi makes an important point. Hear my question before you respond, Miss Lone. The point that General Bakshi makes is, hear my question, ma'am, that a pellet is not like a sniper rifle, right? The moment you fire, there will be bullets that will be sprayed. The idea is to ensure that fatalities are minimized. Therefore, unlike what happened in 2008, unlike what happened in 2010, you're now trying to ensure that deaths are minimized. And it's only as a consequence of that the deaths are only around 30. Otherwise, there could be much more. That's what the armed forces are saying. And again, General Bakshi says, Police stations are being attacked, CRPF camps are being attacked. So what do these armed personnel who are deployed there do? They have no option but to fire.
You know, I would request, if somebody is listening to this program in Kashmir, if they want to protest in front of CRPF camps, they can protest. But I would really request people not to try to, attack such camps. Let them protest. If they want to protest, let them protest peacefully, because we want
Sloan, the protests are anything but peaceful. The protests are not peaceful. The protests are murderous protests. Policemen are being thrown into the jail. So when you question what the armed forces do, you must also look at the situation that they are dealing with on the ground. They are being attacked. They are being thrown into the jail. Their police stations are being torched. So it's a very, very deliberate provocation. And as General Bakshi argues, it's being done with an attempt of creating a Palestine-like situation in Kashmir.
No, I absolutely nothing about Palestine.
Is there need for a similar sensitization campaign here as well, General Bakshi, where, so you know that you're dealing with a tricky situation, but the police are made to understand that they must find the most appropriate non-lethal way of dealing with this, as opposed to going out and then killing so many people where we end up with a fatality figure of more than 30. General Bakshi, final words, sir.
You know, Rahul, we have been faced with this problem since 2008. We have tried water cannons, we have tried those chili powders, but we find that when the attack is murderous and your response is non-lethal, you invite more attacks. You embolden people to come out again and again.
Very sad.
That is the problem. You see, if every one of us wants...
I really feel saddened.
That is the problem that we are encountering on the ground.
Shabnam Lone, that's a reality.
That is the reality that you have to face.
Armed forces personnel, senior officers I spoke to mentioned.
Rahul,
one second, Ms. Lone, hear my question.
Likening it to the Intifada,
one second.
Does it...
Just hear the question, ma'am. The question is that if you use non-lethal force, like you use tear gas shells, there are ways in which people who are rioting can deal with tear gas shells. So if you use non-lethal force, the crowd, the mob just comes at the security forces even harder, making it even tougher for them to respond. Therefore, they're left with no option. How do you respond to this, ma'am?
No, who was rioting? It was a spontaneous upsurge of human emotion, where you saw a sea of humanity came out. They don't do it all the time, one. Secondly, you see, General Bakshi Sahab repeatedly says, like a Palestine-like intifada. Why does he have to use those words? Question is, does India subscribe to Mossad? We are not Mossad agents out here. The analogy can be a little better. Are we Mossad agents here?
Okay, General Bakshi, 20 seconds, final words from you, sir.
Palestinian-like intifada.
You see, Shabnam is a very well-informed girl, and I would like to tell her that this is not a spontaneous outburst. It was premeditated. Please hear what Hafiz Saeed and Sayyid Salahuddin said across the border. They said that the elimination of Wani is a wonderful opportunity. Humko iska pura fayda uthana chahiye.
Okay, I'm going to leave it there. General G.D. Bakshi, Shabnam Lone, for joining us on the Newsroom Showdown tonight. Thank you very much. After having spent a week talking both to very senior officials in the armed forces and also to a lot of young Kashmiris, my sense is, while on most occasions the armed forces are displaying extraordinary restraint, they're the ones being attacked. They're firing back only in self-defense, only when their own lives are threatened. But there is also a need for a larger sensitization program, like there has been in the United States, where you sensitize these soldiers, you sensitize people deployed on the ground to try and use non-lethal force, because if you just keep using real bullets, then the death toll goes up. And as a nation, we must first try and prevent it. If we are left with no option, and if and only if, and that's only a very big if, then real bullets must be used. But before that, every single option must be explored to try and ensure that nobody dies. This is where we end this part.